Good morning, everybody. So as I mentioned, if you'd like, grab 2 blocks. We're going to be using those blocks for some hip dips. So as we were just chatting about, really getting a little bit more into our hip flexors, but also creating the space so that we can find more expansion through the fronts of our chest and our back, kind of evoking a cobra experience. Also, option for a Supta Baddha Konasana, which is reclined bound angle. And if that doesn't feel quite right this early in the morning, you can use blocks to support your knees. And also toward the end of the class, we are going to explore a supported bridge and supported shoulder stand pose, which we've been doing for the past couple weeks a bit. So a block nearby if you want to use those. That said, if you want to do something along a supported shoulder stand and you don't have a block, no problem. Just extend your feet up toward the ceiling and I'll provide you guidance through that. So just place them towards the front of your mat, unless the first posture we are going to take is a Supta Baddha Konasana. And if you want to take that pose but would like some support for it, then do take your blocks with you. Also, option to simply not take the Supta Baddha Konasana and just recline back. So pick your posture. Find out the way that is going to best suit you in your practice this morning, whether it is reclined back with your feet, soles of feet touching, knees out wide, and relax back. Or if you would like to take another posture, maybe the opposite of this, with your knees together and feet a little bit wider apart. Allow your eye gaze to become a little bit softer and maybe even choose to let your eyelids close. And give yourself an opportunity to simply be aware of what is occurring in your body currently. Give yourself a little bit more attention than you might tend to on the regular. And maybe even an opportunity to indulge in this existence in this physical body. And that same attention to your breath, that which is somewhat between the external and the internal. And the way that your physical body and your breath have interplay. And then simply recognize what the quality of your thoughts have been like lately or this morning, or even at this moment. And perhaps there's a lot of activity. That's okay. Just be aware. And if there's been any kinds of stories, little myths that you've been telling yourself, maybe just acknowledge them and recognize that these are simply stories that maybe don't deserve all of the attention that you've given them. And that they can break away and dissolve, allowing your truth instead to emerge. And if that is an intention or dedication or thought that aligns with where you are right now, then please adopt that. And if something else is more suited for this practice today, drift your thoughts toward that. And then, regardless of whichever pose you've taken on your back, take one hand to heart, one hand to belly, or another place on your torso or on your legs that feels more appropriate. And breathe into the places where your hands have rested. We're going to take one inhale and exhale together as a community service dedications. Very deep breath in. Feel your body press against your hands wherever they may be. And then a very full exhale. Take your hands to the backs of your knees if you took the knees wide variation and start to bring your knees up. If you used your blocks to assist you, just kind of kick them towards the front of your mat. Pull your knees in towards your chest, knees more towards your armpits, and then toes maybe even to touch. So it's a bit like you're in a child's pose, but on your back. Notice if you want to rock from side to side, or remaining in stillness is going to best suit you at this moment. Extend your left leg out long. We're going to take a supine twist, really gentle twist here, drawing your knee across your body. Adjust your shoulders if you'd like, and if you want to send your gaze out to the right, we'll be here for 3 breaths. At the end of the 3rd exhale, head knee back to center, and then switch out your legs. Right is long, left knee pulls in, and then twist in the opposite direction. 3 breaths. And at the end of the 3rd exhale, bring everything back to center. We're going to come up to a seat. So either rock up and down the length of your spine or roll over to one side, and then just set yourself up into a Sukhasana posture. So one ankle in front of the other. And for this one, I do invite you to take the opposite non-dominant leg in front, unless that is simply not working for you. On an inhale, reach your arms up toward the ceiling, send your gaze upward. Then on an exhale, lean forward, reach your arms out long, and then allow yourself to slump forward, drop your head. If this is uncomfortable on your neck because there's just not enough support, then you can take your hands and then make a little pillow. Keeping your head heavy, start to walk your hands in closer towards you, starting to press your way up until your shoulders eventually come up all the way over your hips, and then lift your head up. We're going to take just a couple of seated twists, again, warming up. Inhale, reach your arms out and up, send your gaze up towards your thumbs. Exhale, twist to your left, right hand to your left knee or thigh, left fingertips behind you. Shift the weight to the right slightly. We're going to stay here for just a couple breaths. Allow your chin to drop just the tiniest bit so it's not pointing upward. And then start to bring your chin like it's going to move beyond your left shoulder, but your left shoulder continues to move back as well. Send your gaze back towards the front. Inhale, arms both lift up. Send your chin up towards your thumbs. Exhale, twist to the opposite side. Again, your chin is slightly dropped. Your right shoulder draws back, and yet your chin is still chasing your right shoulder. Release your head back towards the front. Inhale, arms lift up, send your gaze up towards your thumbs. And then on an exhale, bring your thumbs all the way down to the center of your heart. Allow our gaze to continue with your thumbs until you are facing down in Anjali Mudra. Release your hands down towards your knees, lift your head up, and then roll over onto your hands and knees, tabletop position. And take some traditional cow and cat here. Inhale, drop your belly, lift up your hips and heart, gaze up. Find that space through your collarbones. We're going to explore more in a bit. Exhale, arch your spine, look back towards your knees. Inhale, take it forward again. Exhale, press up into your cat pose. Continue moving to these postures. If you've got some movements that feel like they would be of benefits to you, maybe moving your spine in a different way or holding in one pose for several breaths, and make those choices. Is there a myth that you've been telling yourself? Is there a place where you can allow the truth to shine through instead? And then after your next cat pose, make your way back to that neutral spine. And we're going to move to an Anahatasana, melting heart pose, puppy dog pose. Take your hands out towards the corner of your mat. Inner elbows are up. Make sure that your hips are about over your knees. So you might need to walk them back just a little bit and then start to descend your chest toward the mat. So depending on how you're feeling and what's going on today, you might get all the way down to your chin or your chest. Perhaps that's something your anatomy just doesn't do. You can always take your arms out a little bit wider if your hands towards the corners of your mat just isn't enough space. Remember that this is not about getting to the mat. It's about what's happening as you're entering and exiting the pose. When you're ready, on an exhale, be sure to tense up your belly, start to press your way back up. Bring your hands back underneath your shoulders to that tabletop pose. One more cow pose, dropping your belly, reaching your heart forward. Exhale, one more cat. And then tuck your toes, send your hips back to your heels, your arms out way, 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 way far. And then come to downward facing dog. Unfold into the pose. And give yourself several breaths here. Perhaps you'd like some movement, or maybe you warm up to the pose in the pose. Lift up high to your toes and then pivot your heels over to the right, allowing your left shoulder to drop down so it's still in line with the right shoulder. So it feels more like you're pressing your chest toward your left thigh. Inhale, come back up to your toes, pivot to the opposite direction. Same but different. And then take it back to your downward facing dog. Bend your knees, look towards the top of your mat, not an exhale. Step to the top of your mat, or you could hop if you're feeling super energetic. On an inhale, come up halfway. We're going to hang out in this half lift for just a bit. So your fingertips can be on the mat, could be on a block, could be on your shins. Shrug your shoulders back, low belly in, and then really focus on the activity of pressing your feet down and then away from each other. Can you reach your heart out even more? So you're using that leverage and resistance of your feet on the mat so you can reach forward. Maintain that activity, and then on your exhale, bring your chest down towards your thighs for the forward fold. Yeah, so keep pressing your feet down and away. And then maybe even play with what the difference is if you like soften up. Can you go down as far? And then activate your legs, press down and away. And then maybe find that you can fold slightly deeper. We're going to do that again, but this time with breath. Inhale, halfway lift. Reach your heart forward, low belly in. Exhale, fold, maintaining that. Nice. And then reverse swan dive. Again, pressing through your feet, reach your arms out and up. Chin up. Exhale, hands to your heart center. And then arms alongside your body in your Tadasana pose. Stay here for several breaths. Finding your connection with the ground beneath you. And then finding expansion through the crown of your head, the tips of your fingers. When you're ready on an inhale, send your arms up toward the ceiling. Send your gaze up. Exhale, forward fold. Release your hands down. Inhale, halfway lift. Offer your heart outward. Exhale, fold. Step back to the top of your plank pose. On an exhale, lower all the way down to your mat, belly flat. I'm going to be taking a backwards breath cobra. If you'd prefer to take a regular cobra, then please do what is best for you. Take your hands out wide onto your finger pads. Elbows are pointed up. Shrug your shoulders back. Press the tops of your feet. Inhale here, prepare, low belly in. Exhale, start to lift up. Inhale, unfurl, and we're going to hang out here in the option of cobra pose, whether it is the backwards breath with the wide arms, or if you took a more traditional cobra pose. Regardless of what you've chosen, you'll be pressing down through all 10 toenails as best you can, engaging your core to protect your back. And then you're ready on an exhale. Wave yourself all the way back down. If your hands are out wide, bring them in close to you. Press back to a child's pose. Stay here for 3 breaths. Arms long out in front of you, active child's pose. And then make your way back to your downward facing dog. Deep breath in and full breath out. On your next inhale, lift your right leg up towards the ceiling, long, straight, strong. And then on an exhale, place your foot between your hands towards your right thumb. Bring your blocks in close to you if you'd like. We're going to move into those hip dips and to the modified pyramid. So again, with the blocks, I like the first or the second height. This is totally up to you. It is personal preference. I even come up onto my finger pads here to give myself a little distance. So on an inhale, drop your hips, bend your back knee. You might even drop your knee to the mat, shrug your shoulders back, look forward, and up. On an exhale, lift your hips up and back. Straighter or straight legs, reach your chest towards your right thigh. Again, inhale, bending both knees, reach your heart forward, kind of like an Ardha Chandrasana, gaze up, exhale. Take it back. Your right hip really drives back as you press down through your right foot. Again, inhale, drop your hips, reach your heart forward. Find that cobra experience. Exhale, lift it up and back. And we're going to hang out here in this modified pyramid for just a bit. So every inhale, lengthen. Every exhale, soften in. All right, inhale, lift up about halfway, and then rebend into the front knee. Set your blocks to the side if you have been using them. Left hand to the mat, maybe a little bit wider. Peel your right fingertips up, low lunge twist. Left arm, make sure your inner elbow is pointing forward. So it's kind of like you're turning your arm inside out. If you'd like, spin all your toes away from you, coming onto the razor edge of your left foot. IT band stretch, lift your hips high. Send your gaze back down to your mat. Spin all toes back to the front of the room. Take your right hand down, you're back to the low lunge. You're gonna pull your right heel into your bum and then strike all the way back up to that tripod dog. If you need to stop along the way, please do so. And then place your right foot next to the left, back to downward facing dog. Take a moment to acknowledge the sameness or the difference between your legs. Maybe it feels like your right leg is about half an inch longer. When you're ready, on an inhale, left leg extends up. On an exhale, place your foot between your hands toward the left thumb. If you use blocks on the first side, I encourage you to find them again. And we'll take those same hip dips. Inhale, drop your hips, maybe even dropping right knee all the way to the mat. Reach your heart forward, shoulder blades kiss behind you. Look up, left hip is pulling back. Exhale, modified pyramid, long through the left leg, reaching your chest down towards your left thigh. Inhale, drop your hips, reach your heart forward. Exhale, take it up and back. One more time like that. Inhale, reach your heart forward. Exhale, take it all the way back. I'm going to stay here in this modified pyramid. And again, the reason this is modified is that the stance is pretty long and we're on the toes of the right foot rather than having the foot flat. If you know that you're like, no, I want a pyramid, then please do it as best for you. All right, come up halfway, rebend into the front knee. If you use those blocks, set them to the side. Right hand to the mat, maybe a little bit further out. Left fingertips come up. Low lunge twist. Stay here or move with me and move to the IT band twist. Spin all your toes away from you around the razor edge of your right foot. Lift up through your fingertips. And if that's a bit much, you can always take your hand to your hip. You're wrapping your right rib cage upward. And then spin all toes back to the front of the room. Gaze is down. Place your hand down to the mat. You're in a low lunge. You're going to pull your left heel to your bum and then strike all the way back up to that tripod dog. And then on an exhale, place your foot next to the other, downward facing dog. Deep breath in and a full breath out. On your next inhale, right leg comes up and back. Create lots of space. Exhale, place your foot between your hands toward right thumb. On an exhale, unravel to warrior two. So getting straight into it right away. Make sure that your shoulders are over your hips. You're not surfing forward. Maybe even take a little bit of sway front and back so you can find that space in the middle. Sometimes we have to get out of our own way. Try something else so that we can find where the balance exists. Inner elbows are pointing up toward the ceiling. Maybe descend a little bit further into the right thigh. Keep pressing through the outer edge of your left foot. Then straighten the right leg. Lift your palms up towards the ceiling. Fingertips, palms facing each other. Turn the right toes in, turn the left toes out, and then bend into your warrior two to the left. Yeah, slightly different approach. Bring your ribs in. So see if you can drop your tailbone and then maybe sink a little bit lower. Nice. All right, straighten the front leg. Lift your fingertips up toward the ceiling. Turn your left toes in. And then turn to the right again. Warrior two. Second time. Flip your right palm, drop your left, exalted warrior. Keep reaching out to the inside of the right thigh. Keep pressing through the outer edge of the left foot. Maybe even looking up beyond your right arm. And then back to your warrior two. Sweep your left arm towards the front of the room. Pivot onto the ball of your back foot. You're in a high crescent lunge. Really sit low. Keep pulling your right hip back, left forward, lifting up to the inside of your left thigh. On an exhale, drop your hands down toward the mat. You're going to strike your right foot all the way back up to a tripod dog. So bring your heel into your bum to help you out. A little bit of core work there. And then place your foot next to the other. Downward facing dog, 3 breaths. As you are ready, inhale, left leg is up and back. Exhale to place the foot between your hands, over to the left side just a bit. And then you're going to unravel, come into your warrior two. So not the first time on this side as we did it before, but the first time facing this direction. Shrug your shoulders back. Find that space where your hips are over, your shoulders rather, over your hips. Straighten the front leg, lift your fingertips up toward the ceiling, palms facing toward each other, pull your left toes in, so parallel. So your toes are just ever so slightly putting in. Turn your right toes out, descend into warrior two once again. Slightly different entry point. Remember to pull your left shoulder back so they're in line with each other. Straighten the front leg, or the right leg, that is, lift your fingertips up, pull the toes in, return back to warrior two to the left. Flip left palm, drive right, or take it to your low back, and then come to an exalted warrior. Maintain the openness through your left leg, the support through your right. And then back to a warrior two. Sweep your right arm towards the front of the room, pivot onto the ball of your back foot, your high crescent lunge. Pull your left hip back, engage your core, lift up your fingertips, lift up through your inner right thigh. Exhale, take your hands down toward the mat. Strike all the way back up to tripod, pull your left heel in, all the way. If you need to step back to a down dog before doing that, then please do it. And then place your foot next to the other. Downward facing dog, inhale. And exhale. We're going to take that sequence. We're going to add on. Inhale, right leg is up and back. Exhale, place the foot between the hands. Warrior two, as you're ready. Straighten the front leg, lift your fingertips up, turn the toes in. Warrior two, toward the other direction. Straighten the front leg, turn your toes in, lift up your fingertips. Warrior two, towards the front once again. This time, we're going to move to a half moon pose. So you're going to lean forward, hands come down. There might be a block here that you could use, or just place your hand outside, basically like beyond your right pinky toe. So a little bit on a bias. Left hand to your hip or left fingertips up toward the ceiling. Wrap your right rib cage up toward the ceiling. Action through your left foot. And as advertised, we're gonna do some interesting things here. Bend through your right knee, stand all the way back to your warrior two, and then exalt, right fingertips are up. We're gonna do that again. Serve forward, maybe take several steps, right hand down, left fingertips can come up. You're just gonna tick-tock back. Once again, bend to the right knee, stand all the way back, warrior two, and then exalted. Very nice. All right, sweep your arms toward the front of the room, come back to that high crescent lunge, and then take your hands down toward the mat. We're going to launch forward to a supported warrior three. So all that means is that you're going to keep your right foot down and then either take several hops or one, or just drag your leg along the mat. You lift up your left leg. Your hands can come to blocks here to provide you support or down to the mat. Find activity through your left leg and breathe. Lots of length through your right thigh. Can you find cobra pose here, but pull your belly in? Okay, things are gonna get interesting. We're gonna come up to standing, take a little bend to your right knee for stability and strength. You're gonna pull your left knee up. So maybe your thigh is parallel to the mat. Right hand to the outside of your left thigh. Left hand to your left hip. We won't be doing a leg extension here. Maybe you send your gaze on your left shoulder. Send your gaze back to the front. Unravel, take your hands down. Stand down. Notice if you have an inclination to move. Is that something that you need to do, that you'd like to do? And allow yourself to settle back into your Tadasana pose. On an inhale, hands lift up, send your gaze upward. Exhale, forward fold. Fingertips drop. Inhale, Ardha Chandrasana, half lift. Exhale, fold. And then step back to the top of your plank pose and either press back to downward facing dog or take a vinyasa. On an inhale, left leg comes up and back. Create space. Exhale, place your foot between your hands toward the left thumb. Warrior two. Unravel. Sit low. Once you've found your posture, let's start to take it apart. Straighten the left leg, lift up your fingertips, turn your left toes in. Come to warrior two to the opposite direction. Sit low. Left shoulder draws back still. Straighten that right leg, turn your right toes in, lift up your fingertips, exhale. Back to warrior two. And from here, we're going to move to the Ardha Chandrasana, the half moon pose. Reach your left fingertips out using the block or not. Right hand can stay up, or you can take it to your hip for a little bit of balance. Wrap your left rib cage upward toward the ceiling. See if you can make sure that your left heel is directly behind your toes. So like basically your second toe. So that's where your line is. Inner elbow of your left arm is pointing towards the front of your mat. All right, and then we got to move that tick-tock. Start to bend through your left knee, stand your right foot all the way back, warrior two. Drop your right hand, exalted warrior. And then as you're ready, transfer yourself back to that Ardha Chandrasana. And then bend through your left knee, stand all the way back, warrior two. And then exalt. Allow your low belly to help you out here. And then come back to your warrior two. Sweep your right arm towards the front of the room, come into your high crescent lunge. And then take your hands down to the mat. We're shifting forward to that supported warrior three. So again, blocks are no. Reach your heart forward, really press to that back leg. And on an exhale, this is going to help you come forward. Your right leg will either drag along the mat, take a couple steps, or completely lift up. Lift up to the inside of your right thigh. Lift long to the outside of your left. And if you ever are like, I want to go to full warrior three, fully your choice here. Okay, we're going to come up to standing. We'll bend to your left knee, pull your right knee in towards your chest, come up. Maybe your right thigh is parallel, right hand to your right hip. Left hand to the outside of right thigh. Find some flexion through your right toes. And then take a bit of a twist here without allowing your right hip to pop up like it often likes to do. And then send your gaze back to the front of the mat. Unwind, stand down, Tadasana pose. When you're ready, inhale, palms up, send your chin up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold again. Make your way back to downward facing dog. You can take a vinyasa or you can completely skip it. It's not necessary. When you're ready, on an inhale, lift up your right leg. We're going to change things up before we get back to that sequence. On an exhale, take your knee to your right elbow and then place your foot to the outside of your right hand. Maybe consider turning your toes out to the side just a bit. We're going to take a lizard pose here. So left knee up or down, depending on what is going to be best for you right now and what's going to work best for your practice, your intention, thinking about the stories that you tell yourself. I'm going to take my knee down for this one. So wherever you are, you might have blocks nearby that can help you into this pose. Reach your shoulders back, find that cobra-ish place in your collarbones. And then on an exhale, you're going to start to descend down. So your elbows might just bend the tiniest bit. Blocks for your forearms will come all the way down onto your forearms. Back toes, if your knee is down, can be tucked or untucked. If you untuck your toes, it requires a little bit more activity to press all of your fingernails, or your toenails rather, into the mat. So just something to consider. With your right leg, press down to the big toe mound, little toe mound, and the center of your heel. This is going to keep your right knee pointing more upward rather than falling to the side. If you've come all the way down onto your forearms, onto the blocks, start to press your way back up. Take your left hand out a little bit wider again. We're going to bind right hand to left foot. So pull your left, drop your left knee first of all if you've had it lifted through your lizard pose. And then cycle your right arm up and back. If this isn't working for you with your palm facing your foot, you can flip it the other way. But if you have your palm facing your foot, you're likely to have more of an open-hearted experience here. So if and when you've grasped your foot, you can stay right here if this is just everything you've ever needed. Or if you'd like, you can shift your hips back, connect, and then rebend. And then if you want to take things even further, if this works for you, only if it works for you, coming onto your left forearm while still wrapping your left ribcage upward. Whichever option you've taken, release the foot. If you came down onto your left forearm, make your way back up. Walk your right foot back in so that your heel is aligned with your right hip, hands down to the mat. Pop up your back knee, and then strike your right foot all the way up to that tripod dog, maybe with or without a stomp to get there. And then place your foot next to the other. 3 breaths. And then at the end of that 3rd exhale, on a breath in, left leg lifts up and back. Exhale, take your knee to your left elbow and then place your foot to the side of your left hand. Feel free to use your left hand to guide it out so that your ankle is below your knee. Left toes slightly facing out to the side works for most bodies. And then whatever you did on the first side, whether your back knee was up or down, whether your toes were tucked or untucked. Again, untucked usually takes a bit more activity, especially because like your heel wants to splay out to the right. You have to work real hard to keep it pointing straight up. Shrug your shoulders back, find space, look out, and then start to deepen your posture. Bending your elbows slightly onto blocks or all the way down to your forearms. Same activity through your left foot you did on your right. When the side starts to feel about the same as the other, begin to press your way back up. And then you're going to drop the right knee if you had the knee up approach to your lizard. Take your right hand out to the side just a bit. Give yourself plenty of space. We're going to take that bound version. Lift your right heel up, cycle your left arm up and back. Again, palm towards foot is great. If that's not working for you, that's fine. Just be mindful of your shoulder beginning to collapse forward. If you've got a clasp, you can stay right here or shift your hips back, bum to heel connection, and then rebend, coming forward once again. So this is choose your own adventure. What is going to serve you best? Maybe staying right here is exactly what you need, or coming down onto the right forearm, wrapping your right rib cage upward, really lengthening to the crown of your head. Is this variation of the posture for you? Release the foot from whatever option you've got. Press up into your right hand if you lowered it. Rewalk your left toes back in so that your left heel is in line with your left hip. Pop the back knee up. And then we're going to strike all the way back to that tripod dog again, maybe in one big old swoop. And then place the other foot down. Downward facing dog, 3 breaths. After your 3rd exhale, take your knees to your mat, hips to your heels. Child's pose or another restful posture. We're going to hang out here for 5 breaths. We're going to move back into the sequence that we've been working on. We're going to add in a little bit more. This time is yours for whatever you would like. Your first of 5 breaths starts now. About now, you might be coming upon that 5th exhale. So make your way back to a downward facing dog as you are ready. On an inhale, extend your right leg up toward the ceiling. On an exhale, place your foot between your hands toward your right thumb. Make your way to warrior two as you are ready. Looks like we're having a little bit of a location change for one of our yogis. When you're ready, you're going to straighten your front leg, leave your fingertips up toward the ceiling, turn your right toes in, turn your left toes out, come back to the warrior two. Opposite side, look beyond your left middle finger. And then straighten that front leg, lift your left arm up, point your toes inward, move back to warrior two, towards the front of your mat. We're going to, from here, move into our Ardha Chandrasana. So lean forward, use the launching off of your left leg, or maybe even just pop it in just a little bit. Give yourself a little bit more leverage as you lift up the left leg. Always an option to keep your left hand to your hip or extend up toward the ceiling. All right, then we're gonna shake it up. Bend through the right knee, send your left foot all the way back from warrior two. Flip your right palm, exalted warrior, lift up and back. And then transition back to the Ardha Chandrasana. Tick-tock forward. And then make your way back to warrior two, through warrior two, to your exalted warrior. Nice, back to your warrior two pose. And then sweep your left arm towards the front of the room. So you're in a high crescent lunge. Exhale, take your hands down to the mat. We're gonna move forward to that supported warrior three. So if you'd like to take a full warrior three, please do that. Otherwise, you're going to take your hands out in front of you, perhaps on the blocks. Exhale, launch forward, maybe one step or several. Your wrists generally below your shoulders will help here. Long through the right leg, lifting up through your inner left thigh, low belly to help support you here. And then we're going to come up to standing. Little bend through your right knee, pull your left knee up. And we're going to take something a little bit different. So take both hands to your hips first. Find your balance. And then you can stay here, or you can take your hands to your knee and pull in. That's one stop. The other stop is you can take hand to toe pose here. If so, maybe take your right hand back to your hip, piece fingers of your left hand with your thumb, and then wrap around your big toe of your left foot. Press down through your right foot, lift up to the crown of your head, find your balance, seek and destroy. Left leg comes out, drop your left hip. And if you're like, I am enjoying this so much, then start to move your left leg out to the side. Also pressing firmly through the right leg. Wherever you are is where you need to be. Your left leg does not need to be straight. Then we'll all begin to rewind. If you take the leg out, bring it back, bend into the front knee, and then we'll all release, stand down, maybe sway from side to side a bit, find some movement. And then shift the weight to the left leg. We're going to take a Vrikshasana tree pose here. So lift up to your right knee, turn your knee out to the side, and then start to move your leg up your body, wherever it makes sense for you. Pressing down through that left foot. We've done a lot of switching from side to side. Even here, you might find that your right rib cage is starting to draw back. Bring it forward. You might find more intensity here through the stretch as well through your right leg. Hands at your heart center or at your hips. And then when you're ready, make a choice about where you would like your arm placement to be. What stories have you been telling yourself that you can just let dissolve and disappear and allow the truth to emerge? Grow your roots down as you lift up through the crown of your head. And find energy from wherever you have placed your hands. And then begin that rewinding process. If you took your arms out or behind your back, bring them back towards the center of your body, whether in your heart or hands to hips. Right knee back toward the front of the room. Stand down. And either having hands at heart and Samasthiti, arms alongside your body in Tadasana. We'll be here for several breaths. You might even choose to allow your eyes to close. And then with eyes opened or closed, lift your fingertips up toward the ceiling, send your chin up. Exhale, forward. Release hands to mat. Inhale, offer your heart. Exhale to honor yourself, step back to top of plank pose. Exhale, lower to the floor or toward the floor through your chaturanga. Untuck your toes, take it back bend of your choice. And then on exhale, take it up and back. Downward facing dog, take 3 breaths. And at the end of your 3rd breath, take child's pose. We'll be there for 3 breaths. Move when ready or take another restful posture. At the end of your 3rd exhale, wherever you have landed, make your way back to downward facing dog. On a breath in, left leg comes up and back. Exhale, place your foot between your hands towards your left thumb. As you're ready, warrior 2. Straighten the left leg. Lift fingertips up, turn your left toes in. Warrior 2 to the right. Sit low. Straighten the front leg, turn your toes in, lift up your fingertips. Warrior 2 to the left where we began. When you're ready, we lunge forward to Ardha Chandrasana. Reach your left fingertips out. You can keep your right hand up or take it to your hip. Making sure to hide your left heel behind your toes. When you're ready, little bend to your left knees. Take it all the way back to Warrior 2, through Warrior 2 to Exalted Warrior. And then back to Ardha Chandrasana. Tick-tock. And then, as it's time, take it back to Warrior 2, through your Warrior 2 to your Exalted Warrior. And then back to Warrior 2, settle in. Knowing that we're about to change things up, sweep your right arm to the front of the room, come all the way to that high crescent lunge, sit low, right hip pulls forward, left is back, and then drop down your fingertips to the mat, supported Warrior 3. Shift your weight forward, option to lift up your palms if you'd like. Long through the left leg. Both legs do not need to be straight. We seek that, but it does not have to occur to be in the posture. What's more important is that you're grounding down through your left foot, extending out through your right, finding Tadasana through your torso. And then as you're ready, we're going to come up to standing. So start to take your hands away from wherever they're resting, little bend to your left knee, pull your right knee up. And again, we're going to make something just a little bit different here. So starting with your hands on your hips, find your stability. Option to stay here or grasp the outside of your shin or the back of your thigh. Or let's take a grip here. Hand to toe, piece fingers and thumb of your right hand around your big right toe. And then take your left hand to your left hip. You can stay here, pulling your right knee upwards. So this might feel a little bit like the lizard pose. And then extend your right heel out, straighter or straight. And then if you'd like, bring your right leg out to the right. And then maybe consider sending your gaze out to the left. Find Tadasana here. Press through your left foot. And as you're ready, let's rewind. Right leg comes back towards the front of the room, bending the right knee. And whatever grip we've got, release it. Stand down, Tadasana. And then move into Vrikshasana, other leg. So shift your weight to the right leg. Come onto your left toes, send your left knee out to the side. Drop your tailbone so that you can pull in your belly, get strong, zip up. Everything moves toward the middle. And then take the posture of your left leg. Use your hand to guide you if you'd like for this one, unless you're really into active range of motion. Find your stability. And then emerge from that, the arm placement that is working best for you now, more reflective of your truth. Release the myth. Remembering that your left foot is pressing into your right leg. And then your right leg provides that same exact support back. And then same but different, you're pressing down through your right foot so that you can lift up higher through the crown of your head. And as you're ready in your own time, if you took an arm extension, bring your hands back to your heart or to your hips. Take your left knee out towards the front of the room. Stand down. And find your Samasthiti or your Tadasana. Option to close your eyes if you would like. Take your flow back to downward facing dog, any path you would like, vinyasa or no, half sun salutation A or no. Move whenever you're ready. From your downward facing dog, lift up high to your toes and then roll to the top of a plank pose. Come down onto your forearms for forearm plank. Arms parallel, or if that's not working for your shoulders, you can interlace your hands and create a triangle here, strong base of support. You can stay here, or if you'd like to move with me, we're going to move into a dolphin pose. So start to walk your feet in closer to you. So it's kind of like a dog pose, a downward facing dog pose with a forearm plank. What are the myths that you've told yourself? And where can your truth emerge instead? Maybe step your toes in, quarter of an inch closer. Those of you in dolphin, start to step your way back out to your forearm plank. I'll drop the knees to mat. And then take a child's pose or another restful posture of your choice. You might find that in your child's pose, it's more comfortable to have knees together and then arms reaching back so they're closer towards your heels with your palms facing up. Start to bring your hands back in close to you. And you're going to just slither on your belly, come all the way down, flat so you're facing the same direction on your stomach. And then you're going to flip onto your back. Just pop around. And then recline back. We're going to take a flowing bridge here. We will be taking a supported bridge later as well, but we're going to find a little bit more fluidity, dynamic movement first. So make sure that your arms are alongside your body. And then make sure that your shoulder blades are tucked down. So you've got this opening through the front of your chest. Your tops of shoulders are reaching down and they're not crunching inward. Low belly is strong. A little bit more flattening to your low back. Press through your feet. Inhale, lift your hips up, reach your arms up and back. See the stability is important. Backs of hands behind you. Lift up your heels perhaps. And then on an exhale, wind your way all the way back down. Do this several more times, simply moving with your breath. And after that final time, you're going to allow your hips to rest down and your hands down. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh, coming to a figure four pose. Recline, that is. Without using your hands, pull your left thigh in close to you. See how far you go without your assist. And then use your right hand, or your hands rather, to help you through this as well. Little flexion to your right foot. Draw your left thigh in closer to you. And if you want more zhuzh, right knee works away from you. Soften your jaw and your eyes. And then release your hands. Take your foot down. Uncross. Place your right foot onto the mat and then cross your left ankle over your right thigh. Without using your hands, flexing through your left foot, lift your right thigh up and start to bring it closer to your chest. And then use your hands to assist, grasping your shin or your thigh, whatever is working best for you. Flexion through the left foot, left knee perhaps pressing away from you further. Release your right thigh, place your foot down. Uncross, set down. And then we're going to take a little bit of a rock up and down. We're going to make our way to a boat pose. Perhaps you can land there if you're like, that's ridiculous. And just roll over to one side and then sit yourself up on your bum. Otherwise, hands to backs of thighs, find a little momentum, and then maybe land in your half boat, shoulders back, hands are still to your thighs. Yeah, awesome. Option to stay here. We're also going to have some other choices. We're going to move through Ardha Chandrasana to Navasana with bent knees, arms out to the side. Inhale, extend legs out, start to let them come straight. Lean back, keep your shoulders lifted. Exhale, pull everything in. Try to keep your shins parallel with the mat. Inhale, take it out, create space. Exhale, close it up. Inhale out, create space. Exhale, close it in. Twice more. And then wherever you are, drop your feet to the mat, wrap your arms around your shins, and allow your head to drop. Embrace yourself. And then unravel, you're gonna come all the way back down onto your mat again. If you wanna do that through a boat pose, go for it, it's for you. Separate your feet a little bit wider than your hips. Drop both knees over to the right. If you'd like, you can take your right ankle and place it on top of your left thigh, slightly more intense. If you took that crossed option, and cross, place your right foot down, lift your knees back up to center and send both knees over to the left, windshield wiper over there. Another tick-tock, and then cross your left ankle over the right thigh, if that is good for you. And if it's a bit too much, or you simply don't enjoy it, just examine that and make your choice. Uncross the ankle if you took that ankle option. Bring your knees back up to center. Heel toe your feet back in so that they are hips width distance. We're going to take that supported bridge pose now. So with a block, if you've got it, and if you don't have a block, you'll just be taking a more of a gentle bridge, or you can take that bridge flow, something that is just a little bit less intense, less restrictive. So if you're taking supported bridge, block on the first or second height, press through your feet like you're sitting up for regular bridge, wave your hips up just high enough, slide the block underneath your sacrum. So half your bum's gonna kind of fall out. You might need to play with some differences. If you notice that your back is like arched and it kind of hurts, that should not be where you're at. You should feel pretty supported here, even if all of your bum is not on the block. And then it is your choice whether you would like to take your arms out wide, hands to belly, chest, combination. This is your choice. And depending on the anatomy of your body, at this time you might even select, and I urge you to move with caution, but you might choose to walk the soles of your feet together and allow your knees to drop out. So you're in a Supta Baddha Konasana with your hips lifted. So as I mentioned, be very cautious. If any of this does not feel supported or even, then please turn back. If you took the Supta Baddha Konasana on your block option, start to bring your knees back up. Next pose is a supported shoulder stand, or if you prefer legs up wall, or a traditional shoulder stand. I will be instructing for the supported shoulder stand, arms alongside your body for support. Pull your knees up over your hips, and then extend your heels up towards the ceiling. You might find in this different weight bearing, because everything is shifted back a little bit. You might want to change where your block is located. If that's the case, just place your feet down and then shift it. For me, it feels a little bit more comfortable. It goes back just a little bit further. I mean, and just a little bit, just about maybe half an inch. So explore that and find out where you feel the most supported. Extend your heels up toward the ceiling. And again, if you would rather take something more like legs up wall, or you like a non-supported shoulder stand, then choose the posture for your practice. Ever so slowly, slowly, slowly. And start to come out of this pose. Truly take as much time as you'd like, either from your traditional shoulder stand or if you're supported, really being mindful of bending your knees and feeling the blood start to rush back towards your ankles and your feet, and eventually dropping your feet down to the mat. Notice the strength that it does require in order to move slowly, even from this restful posture. And if you've got the blocks, being careful as you press through your feet and lifting up your hips to slide the block away. And then again, articulating every part of your back. Start to roll your back down, perhaps lifting up your heels to provide a little bit more space. And everyone make sure that both your knees are bent and your feet are into the mat, coming out of the posture you were just in. We're going to take a half happy baby here. So bring your right knee towards your right armpit, and then reach up to the inside of your knee to grasp the outside of your foot. So you're pulling down your foot, pressing up to your heel. And then if you'd like, you can extend your left leg out. It might feel more comfortable to keep the left leg bent. This is up to you, and maybe you try one out, you try the other. If your left leg is extended, rebend the knee. Release your right foot, place it down next to the other one. And then we're going to take the other side, pull your left knee towards your left armpit. And then right hand. So your arm goes to the inside of your knee, your hand goes to the outside of your foot. I mean, if that's not working, then grab to the inside, grab your toe, grab your thigh. All of these are options to you. You're pressing your foot down, your foot presses up, heel presses up, and then maybe extend your right leg out, or you keep the knee bent. Ardha Chandrasana. Really bend your right knee, place your right foot into the mat, and then release your left foot. And then take your knees back down. Pull your knees into your chest. You can either pull your knees out towards your armpits or more towards the front. And then extend your right leg up toward the ceiling. We're going to take one of these. Extend your left leg out. If it feels right, you can keep your knee bent. You're going to use your hands wrapped around your right thigh, or maybe your calf, but perhaps you reach all the way up to your toes. Start to bring your thigh closer towards your chest. Find the resistance between your right leg, wherever you're touching, and your hands. Some activity through your left leg, so you can press your left hip down. Release the right leg. And either having the bent right knee or extended the leg out, pull your left thigh in and begin to straighten your leg, straight or straighter. Hands to clasp around the back of your left thigh. Switch out the grip of your fingertips. And if your right leg is extended, be sure to have a little bit of activity through your foot. Release the grip of your left thigh. Extend both legs out long in front of you. Extend your arms up. Point through your toes, reach out through your fingertips. I'm going to take a banana asana. So start to move your legs over to the right, cross your left ankle over the right, arc your torso over to the right, maybe even taking right fingertips, index and thumb around your left wrist and arc over. Release the clasp and the cross, and then walk over to the left, legs to the left, arms over to the right. Clasp and cross as you like. And then release, come back to center. And bring your arms back alongside your body. The final posture of this class will be Shavasana. You are in a position to take a traditional Shavasana right now. However, if you'd like to take something else, perhaps legs up wall or another supported shoulder stand or another posture is best for you at this moment. If you'd like, we begin the class in a Supta Baddha Konasana. You could also end as we can. Take the time that you need to enter the posture and find a place where you will be able to find stillness. Is there more that you can let go of to allow yourself and truth to emerge? Take a deeper breath. A fuller exhale. And start to invite movement back into this body of yours. When you're ready, roll over onto your right side, pausing for several moments. Acknowledge this transition. Making your way to a seated posture of your choice for a brief reflection and meditation. Perhaps you choose to allow your palms to rest up in honor of releasing and letting go, and of accepting, or perhaps palm down in honor of introspection and examination. On an inhale, reach your arms out and up. Send your chin upward, and on an exhale, take your thumbs to the space between your eyebrows for clarity of thought, to your lips for clarity of speech, and down to your heart for clarity of action. Bow your head to your heart in honor, in humility, and in gratitude. We all see and recognize our myths for what they are, and may we see our truth for what it is. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me this morning and for helping me deepen my own. In the name of the highest good, namaste.